Howdy folks, welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory and today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. Hope this message finds you doing well. As you can see right there on the screen, IMF warns of new, quote, Great Depression, end quote, Russia ahead of the curve due to increased cash and gold reserves. As we've been reporting for a number of years now, gold has been a very important part of Russia's overall strategy. And I was just talking with a family member earlier today, and he was under the impression that Russia was still some third world type country that was struggling with food supplies and, pretty well destitute. And I had to correct him on that and let him know what the facts actually are and not what mainstream corporate media pumps out. And we had a nice civil conversation about it. But gold is very important, and he came to understand that, corporate media is nothing but liars, which he already knew that. I mean, he's a smart man, but just needed a reminder that Russia did it is not actually a truth. That's just a lie. But anyway, as Putin said a number of years ago, and I believe it was at the United Nations General Assembly that he told the world that he believed that the Federal Reserve Note, U.S. dollar, was, quote, a threat to Russia's national security, and at which time they started increasing their gold hoard by just slightly. I mean, they've been pretty consistent for the past 7 or 8 years. Like I said, as we've been reporting, and those of you that follow along with my work know quite well that Louis Camerasano over at Small Gold and I were doing a series of reports a couple of years ago, and he continues to report on Russia's gold holdings, not quite as often as he was, but he still does a great job of covering what they have going on. And let's go over this report right here. Last week, the IMF issued a stark warning, which we reported at the Daily Coin on a number of occasions, about the global economy. The global economy, as you all know, because you are well informed and pay attention to what's going on, you know that the global economy is slowing down. You know that the economy in the U.S. is a disaster. You know that it is a lie. It's a scam and a sham. While most large Western states are vulnerable to a new crisis, Russia has prepared its defense. They've gotten rid of their debt. Their balance sheet is actually in the black, whereas most all nations around the world, their balance sheet is actually in the red, but Russia's is in the black. Kristalina Georgieva isn't any sort of conspiracy theorist. She's the head of the IMF. And when she warns that the global economy risks another Great Depression, you would think everyone would listen. But the Western reaction to her statement last week has been muted, with plenty of media outlets leaving it, quote, buried in the mainstream, or simply ignoring the story, which is this why the impeachment debacle carnival show is sucking all the oxygen out of the room? Very well could be. For instance, rudimentary Google searches suggest neither the Financial Times nor The Economist have covered her comments at all. If so, it's ethically questionable, but also understandable in a cynical sense, given their complete attachment to the doctrine of neoliberal economics. In other words, they're bootlicking propagandists, the Financial Times and The Economist. One place Georgieva's words haven't fallen on deaf ears is Moscow, because her warning merely confirms that confirms what experts in the Russian capital have been saying for years. A major Western financial crash is both inevitable and reasonably imminent, and it's going to make the 2008 meltdown look mild by comparison, which is exactly what we've been saying. We've been reporting this for years. This is not news. The Russians, you and I, we all know what's coming. Math still matters. Facts still matter, regardless of what the propagandist and the corporate scumbags on corporate media try to tell us. The reasons are simple, according to the insiders in Russia. Western governments have accumulated too much debt over the past decade, and there are a number of concerning bubbles in the systems. These include U.S. stocks, German, British property, and the oversized valuations of tech companies, especially startups, unlikely to ever return their cost. Can you say Netflix is burning $19 million a day? That was just reported yesterday. $19 million a day. So they will never show a profit. Tesla will never show a profit. None of these companies will. It's just that simple. They're just a Ponzi scheme, and that's the bottom line. So Russia is holding gold, and I'm going to publish this article over at the Daily Coin. You can come over and read it all for yourself. I want to move on because that is, I don't want to beat this dead horse. It's very simple. Russia holds gold. They've been very vocal about it. They've been very vocal about de-dollarization. The other really big story, in my opinion, has been First Majestic, and they are going to focus only on the most profitable silver and gold mines. And this article is a little difficult for me to comprehend. Well, not comprehend, but it seems to run contrary to itself. In that, on the one hand, it states that First Majestic is shuttering some mines, which it is, and it's slowing down production. But on the other hand, they are Keith Neumeyer, in his infinite wisdom, is pumping up two or three of the other mines, and he's introducing what sounds like a really incredible piece of new technology called high-intensity grinder. And apparently this is exactly what it sounds like, is a grinder that's going to take the pulp of the pulp and make it into even smaller pulp and be able to extract even more of the mineral out of the rock that they are processing. It says the guidance only assumes production coming from its three largest mines, which are listed right there on the screen. And these mines are expected to remain suspended throughout 2020, and Del Toro being wound down with no production this year at all. That mine, the Del Toro mine, according to this article down at the very bottom, you have to go all the way to the end, produced only 493,000 silver equivalent ounces, which accounted for about 2% of the company's total production. So while it sounds horrible on the front end, if you look at the numbers, it's not a big deal. 2%, they're going to make that up according to, not according to, but what it sounds like. This new high-intensity grinding, he's incorporating other cost-saving, higher producing technologies and techniques in order to make up for what is being lost at Del Toro. It says the company plans to increase production at San Dimas by restarting mining operations at the past producing Teolita mine by the end of the first quarter, and expects to ramp up production to 300 tons per day by the end of 2020. The Teolita mine was the original mining area in San Dimas and known to contain higher silver grades. In addition, First Majestic plans to install a new 3,000 ton per day high-intensity grinding mill circuit and an autogenous mining mill in the second half of 2020 to further improve recoveries and reduce operating costs. So if you go from 300 tons a day to 3,000 tons a day, that's a very significant change. And if you're going to be able to grind that down even finer to where you can get to even more of the mineral, well, that's going to reduce cost, it's going to increase efficiency, and it's going to be just fine. It says at El Enchilada, silver production would increase owing to continued improvements in meteorological recoveries and grades from San Javier and La Pitra sub-level caving areas. Furthermore, the company is preparing to bring the Milagros Brescia into production in the fourth quarter of 2020. So while there are mines that are being shuttered or slowed down, there are mines that are increasing and being brought back online. So it sounds like everything is either going to level out or increase. Sounds like production might actually increase if this high intensity grinding mill pans out the way that it sounds like it's going to. And it sounds like Keith Neumeyer once again making wise decisions and cutting out any of the mines that aren't producing, that are not carrying their own weight. Why carry them? Why not pass them along or just shut them down and sit on them for a minute? So, I mean, once again, making smart decisions, and sounds like that there's the potential for even more silver to come out of First Majestic mining operations. May be wrong. I may be completely misreading this, but I don't think so. It sounds like there is going to they're going to be either, once again, either level with last year or increase because of these new techniques and new technology. So just wanted to go over these two with you guys real quick. Thought they were of interest. They were of interest to me. Thought they might be to you. And so just wanted to share. Hope you all are doing well, and thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to share and like this video. Otherwise, others will never, ever see it. So thank you so much, and we will talk with you soon.